So we just created a bullet rectangle in a separate file because we want to keep on dynamically create this bullet rectangle to come out of our player rectangle to go up. Because in the future video, what we're planning to do is, if I run this application, the bullet goes right from the middle of this player rectangle, and then if the enemies are falling from up, if it hits the enemy, then what happens? You gain a score, and then that's how you move side by side and hit the bullet with your space key. So let's go and implement that. So this controller source file is just to control the player rectangle. So for the bullet, I'm gonna create a new class and go to your here on title 3 and then add new and then C++ class, just like how we did it for controller class. So I'm just gonna name it bullet, capital B, and then you can also change it here if you want, but this is technically not necessary for the names of the file. And include QObject, add QObject mock, and then continue. It will be automatically added to your CMake file. If it's not seen here, then you have to edit it in your CMake. And if I go to our bullet, the edge just comes with a skeleton. We have already seen this before, right? So for the rectangle, in the player rectangle, we already did how to automate it to fall back with the timer, right? In bullet's case, what we're doing, we are just trying to create a new bullet each time we hit the space key, and then same as how player rectangle was falling down with the gravity, we need to just pull it through to go it up with the help of timer. See, it all comes down to the same base concept of how we set up the automated movement of elements with the timer, similar to that. So I think you will not be confused because we're going to use the same thing. And for the ease, I'm just going to show you what we gonna do. So we are in control.h header file, and I'm gonna copy these till where our setters, getters and setters with the Q property. Now I'm going to tell you why we are doing this, because we are trying to implement the same thing, right? We are trying to implement the same thing. So what was this getter and setter was doing? What was Q property doing? It was just keeping the X and Y position, current position. Like with the setter, you are setting the position. With the getter, you are getting the position from your private variables, and then you were notifying the change that X has changed, Y had changed. So same for the bullet. If Y had changed, you're gonna notify, and the timer keeps on going on the loop so that it looks like it's moving up, just like we did in rectangle. No need to get confused. And for the controller constructor, I'm just gonna remove this and say bullet, because it doesn't make sense to rewrite these codes, right? Because I have already explained this part. So this is just the moment, like how if the X value is not equal to the current value, then that value needs to be replaced to the current value, and then it looks like it gives you a simulation of movement. So when I change the name, I will remove this constructor and I'll remove this public. We already have that, and I'm gonna take this Q property up here, build the Q object, and we have this getters and setters, and those getters and setters has been applied here in our Q property. We have few errors because we have not declared the private variables. So private, let's declare our variable double our current position of bullet as X, double current position of our bullet in Y dimension as Y, and also declare this variable which is Y speed for you know what, to give the pixel to move it forward towards up direction, right? So Y speed is there, just like how we did it in our controller.header file. If you see here, we have these X speed, MX, MY, and we have seen this how you are using these. So same for bullet.h, and we have these signals. For that, we're gonna start the signal name, signals, just like we do it for public, private, and then for signals we have two signals, void exchanged, void changed. Right, so we don't have any errors as of now. We have these getter and setters to set the value, get the value, and then now what I'm gonna need is I need a slot for the timer to see if there is a y changed, and then it needs to keep on pushing up. It needs to see the timeout. We're also gonna push this up in 60 frame per second. So let's see it. It would be easier for you to understand while seeing the code. So let's make a public slot here. Public slots. And I'm just gonna say void update bullet. So this is going to be our slot, and then we're gonna write this definition in our bullet.cpp. Add definition in bullet.cpp. You can manually copy this, and we're also gonna like change the constructor just like how we did it in our controller. So in here what we're gonna do is we're gonna set y, and then what does this set y is doing in our bullet, just like in controller edge, we're setting the y value, right? This y value, and it checks if it's like equal to our current value or not, the changed value. And then if it is not equal, then that means the value has changed, which means the y changed. I'm restating these things because if you are confused or have forgotten what you have done earlier, I recommend going back and seeing just the concept. So it might take you 5 minutes more, but it's always a good thing to be 100% sure and to like keep track of what you're learning. And set y, I'm gonna say my plus y speed. What did I do here? I'm saying like set our current position plus y speed to this, to our bullet here, and then what happens? What happens? This update bullet will be called 60 times in 1 second, and it feels like it's changing the position. And I'll quickly go here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this constructor bullet.edge. Let's inherit from QObject public QObject, and in the constructor we have QParent. Okay, so in CPP we can say QObject parent, and we're gonna initiate our variables just like how we did it for the initialization list for our controller CPP. Here this is how we initialize, right? So same thing we're gonna initialize for our bullet.cpp. To better understand, I'm gonna open side by side for our header here for the bullet, and now I'm gonna initialize the values for our current x, for our current y, and for y speed. So these are the variables that we need to initiate to use it inside the constructor, and the initial x position of our bullet should be somewhere in the center of our player rectangle, right? So I guess we already closed the game window, but if I run it now it might give you error. Let's see. Oh, it didn't give. So it didn't give error, so I can show you now. I just want my bullet position to be on the center, right? So our current position of x will be somewhere in the center of this rectangle. So our rectangle's width is, if you go to main.qml is like 50-50, 15 width, 15 height. So bullet.cpp again. I want to be on the center of 50, that means 25. No, not 25. See, we need to be on the center of the player rectangle. Now understand this, of the player rectangle, which is of size 50, but we are inside what? Main window. So it shouldn't be in the center of the rectangle, but where? On the center of the main window, right? But we have already centered our rectangle in our controller.cpp, which is this value here, and then the y is this value. So this will give you the position, of our rectangle, because we just copied its coordinate. And for y speed, the speed on which the bullet will move will be, let's say 10 pixels. So 10 pixels, and then now is somewhere in the rectangle. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a timer. For that, we're going to include our QTimer object. So for that, I'm going to include QTimer. This is not a new concept for you because I've already done this in 2-3 videos prior to this tutorial. So I'm going to initiate my QTimer object here and start of instance. Say, let's say bullet time. The B stands for bullet, okay? And I'll keep this B small and then time. Good thing, like a snake. I don't know, like this is how you create variables names, like snake style, something they go. Oh, not the snake style. In the snake style, you use underscore. It's a camel style. Okay, so I wrote B time. Go back to your bullet.cpp, and now you can finally use your QTimer here, but let me initialize it here. Well, in included file type, I've expected this. In included file, let's not care about this for now. Everything looks good to me up till now. And I'm gonna add, no, I don't need to add timer because it's already included when you like start it in the bullet as we initialized it there, right? So B time or connect, let's say connect. Our sender will be same as before, B time. Our signal will be same as before, QTimer timeout, and our receiver will be this class, and our slot will be update bullet, I guess. Yes, here it is, and this will be sent as a reference because this is taking a pointer. Seems good. Well, we still have an error. Go back to bullet edge. Alright, this was the problem. I missed the semicolon for the class and also missed this curly braces. Maybe I have did like mistakenly backspaced it. If I go to bullet.cpp again, we still have must explicitly qualify name of the member of the function when taking something, which really doesn't matter. And this all looks good. Update bullet is good. I don't know why. Oh, my bad. I didn't write the class name here, just like I did for the QTimer. Anyways, you get this special symbol here in Qt with a light bulb to create some of the minor mistakes. That's fine. So connect this timer with your update bullet, and then now I'm going to set a timer. So our beat time start same 16, because we want to run it on 16 frames, 60 frames per second. So same thing, we already have everything we need. If we go back and check if everything is working, I'll just run my this. Yep, no errors till now. If I do anything, nothing's happening because I have not set up the space key and to create these bullets. And for everything else, go to your controller, the CPP here, and then make another function. Sorry, controller, the H. Make another function, and that function will be void fire bullet. Now what this function will do is it's gonna create these new bullet class files dynamically and store them in vector or any type of array, and then whenever the space button is hit, it's gonna store each bullet one by one, because it needs to be created and stored somewhere in the memory to run, right? So whenever you push the space key, there's going to be a bullet coming out of the rectangle, like on the simulation. So there's one bullet, another bullet, there will be a lot of bullets coming out. The more you hit the space key, the more bullets will be coming out, right? So we might want to store them somewhere in an array with the array of bullets, so it needs to stay in the memory until it hits the enemy or until it gets out of the window. So for that, let's implement this. Right click on this, and then refactor, add definition in controller.cpp. So we add a definition in CPP class. So here what we're going to do is we're going to say key object type, and our key object type is what? Did we include our bullet h in our controller.h? No, we haven't. So let me quickly go and include this so that I can use that bullet class, bullet h. Now I'm going to create an instance there. Controller here, controller the CPP, do the fire bullet function, our bullet class new bullet is equal to new bullet. See, now I dynamically created new bullet and I created bullet and new bullet of type. This new bullet is a type of bullet class which we just created, and we're dynamically allocating the memory of this new bullet or this new bullet. So this is how you do dynamic allocation in C++. This is not a Qt code. So I also want to keep on pushing this bullets inside a vector, let's say. So for that, what we're going to do is standard vector, and the type of data is going to store is bullet. So I'm going to say bullet, and let me give this here address of the bullet, not the actual value. And then the name of this vector will be bullet list or something like this, and we're still getting bullet does not refer to a new value or something like that. Does this refer to a value? Of course it does. Does this? No, it doesn't. Seems odd, because I was writing this hashtag on the front. Sorry about that. And then I can go up here and then include vector maybe in the header file directly. Sorry, in the controller.h. Include a vector STL file. We have used this, skipping warning, but I don't know why. But we have used this in controller.cpp here. We're actually using it. So vector type, bullet asterisk this, and then what I want to do is bullet list dot pushback our new bullet. And then see what just happened here. A fire bullet is a function that will fire the bullet. We have already created a bullet class. In this fire bullet function, what we are doing is we are dynamically creating that bullet and storing it in a vector here, which takes the type bullet, right? It takes the type of bullet. So we're passing the bullet class in here and pushing each bullet, because this fire function will be called how many times? 60 times here in 1 second, which is like in every 16 millisecond it will run this update function, and this update function will only run whenever you hit this space button, this slot. So everything seems good. Everything looks okay. All right. Yes, it's fine for me. What I also want to do is, we would not be able to see bullet as of now, so I'm gonna use QDebug here. It's just to like print something on the console. To test our code if it's running. So right now I'm getting an error because we have not included QDebug in our bullet.h. Let me quickly, controller.h. Let me quickly go and add our include QDebug. We also talked about this in the prior videos, if you remember. So if I go to controller.cpp and then said, what happened? I have already included this. No matching constructor for initialization of QDebug. Oh, QInfo, sorry. Why do I keep forgetting it's QInfo? The QDebug is actually our object, and this is a function given from it. Sorry for that. See, I don't prepare videos before making tutorial. I don't practice before making tutorial. I just go on with the flow so you can see how I actually build something. And this really is embarrassing when I make these small mistakes. And see, these silly mistakes are always happening. No matter how fluent I get in Qt, I make these small mistakes. I figure out why it is like giving me errors and I fix it. That's how it is. And slowly over the time you will also be, like familiar with these scripts and everything, and you will keep on making mistakes. But as soon as you make mistakes, you also know how to change something. Like you also feel that this is also not fitting right, then it certainly strikes in your head, right? And then you already know that you made mistake here, and then you change that because you already knew that idea but you just forgot. So I think this is generally normal for everyone. So I don't want to, I just felt embarrassed, so I explained. But anyways, let's go back to our main.qml and then add our space key here. If event.key is equal to qt.space key space, and then to run control dot fire bullet. I'm hoping that I didn't fuck up the spelling. So let me check in bullet, update bullet. Did I have a fire bullet somewhere? Sorry, in controller, right? So fire bullet, yeah. Sims code, fire bullet. Alright. Should work fine. Okay, everything looks good. If I run and build, did I get an error? No errors. Okay, for example, if I minimize the window and open Qt and minimize it here and see if I hit this space right now, well, I got out of you. Now you should be able to see the rectangle. Sorry for that. Let me make the rectangle visible. So our rectangle is here. Whenever I hit, whenever I'm hitting the space key, I'm getting an error saying like type error property fire bullet of object controller is not a function. It's not a function. It says it's not a function. Well, I know what happened. I forgot to add invocable. That's why we use invocable. We have talked about this. So go back to your controller.cpp and fire bullet right here. So I'm gonna say invoke q invocable q invocable. See, I made mistake. I know what I made mistake. I came quickly right here. I know from the error that where I need to fix it. I hope this solves it for us. So if I run again and if I hit my space key, well, I'm still getting an error saying the type property fire bullet is what? What did it? Type error cannot read property X, which is where? This, let me see property X. And bullet.h, mx, my, x written mx, written my, everything looks good, looks fine. Y speed and bullet.cpp in the constructor, mx, my, y speed looks fine for me. Looks fine. My plus y speed looks good. Fire bullet is not a function. Controller.cpp, fire bullet, it is a function. Oh no, I included this invocable in the CPP. So I need to go back here. See, I keep on making mistake, but immediately I will know that where I made mistakes. So this is how I debug as well. So this should help me run it. This might be 4 or 5 minutes long, but fired bullet, yeah, 4 or 5 minutes long just because I'm debugging. But I don't want to like delete this clip out of the video so that you can also be able to see that even though no matter how good I code or how much I am able to make this tutorial, I still make mistake. I'm still a programmer who makes mistakes. So making a mistake doesn't mean you get discouraged that you are not good at coding or something like that. And I really feel that beginner feel that way. When I was a beginner, I really felt when I looked at YouTube tutorial, I felt that, oh no, this is how people are writing code and I can do nothing. But at the end of the day, those YouTubers used to make mistake. They wrote a cleaner code and showed you the cleaner code. That's it. I make mistake, everybody does, but you figure out your mistakes. That's how you learn, that's how you grow. So I'll see you in the next one where we actually fire the bullet using this QML bullet.qml file by implementing it instead of this QInfo output which says fire bullet, but it is actually taking the action. All right, see you in the next one. Thank you so much.